Oblomov, chapter 5. What a great chapter. It goes into some backstory here of Oblomov. It's short, it's only 6 pages, but it's so full of a character arc that we follow. So we're told that he's a collegiate secretary in the civil service. So first of all, it makes me wonder, why is he working? If he's got an income that's enough that he doesn't need to work, why is he working? Well, he is, but not for long. Not to spoil anything, but I guess you know that's where it's going. So we're told that he's in his flat in St. Petersburg with Zahar, his servant. His parents are still alive. He occupies 2 rooms, and then when his parents die, he inherits 350 serfs, or 350 souls, as it says in the book. So bear in mind that this is written or published in 1859, and the emancipation of the serfs was in 1861. So it's very much a topical issue that Goncharov was writing about at the time. But anyway, Oblomov inherits. He's got an income of up to 10,000 rubles a year, so that's enough that he doesn't need to work. But we get this quotation here, which I just love, where it says, life as he saw it was divided into 2 parts. One was work and tedium, which were synonyms in his vocabulary, and the other leisure and enjoying himself in moderation, exclamation mark. So is that not the same for most people? I mean, if you're lucky enough to love your job, then I guess you've won a watch. But you know, where I'm from, that's not really how life works. So yeah, that just seems pretty normal. Go back a bit, we learn about his youth. He seemed pretty normal, actually. He had a good upbringing, a loving family, and he grew up, it says 20 years of living in the family bosom and being nurtured. So we get the sense that he has a big heart, he's well raised, and that family connection is important to him, important to his well-being. And for some reason he thinks that when he gets into the working life, it'll be the same, that his boss will be loving and magnanimous and ask how you're doing, how you slept last night, you know, really care about you. But when he gets into work, he's soon disabused of that notion. And we're told that his boss, while a good boss, is still a boss, and everyone defers to him and respects him. That's what you would expect. And yeah, he's a bit put out by that. And then we get a description of kind of pointless busy work, which I found quite fascinating. So Oblomov's misgivings only increased when he saw packages flashing by marked urgent and extremely urgent, when he was made to write out and copy all kinds of papers and documents, rummage in files and fill writing pads as thick as your arm, whimsically referred to as notes. Everything had to be done fast. Everyone was always rushing somewhere non-stop. People barely had time to finish one job before furiously grabbing another, as if the fate of the world depended on it, only to dispose of it and drop it without a second thought as they launched themselves into the next job, and so on, ad infinitum. This bit here stands out, where it says, the dreariness of it filled him with dread. It doesn't leave a moment for living, he complained. Yeah, sounds relatable. Let's look at a wee translation point here, which really stood out in the Stephen Pell translation. It says he was approaching 30 and had not made the slightest progress in any career and stood precisely where he had 10 years before, in the wings of his life's theatre, without setting foot on the stage. Isn't that a nice use of idiom? So I looked up Magarshak translation, and he has it as: he turned 30 and had not advanced a step, but was still standing on the threshold of his career, just where he had been 10 years before. Not quite so idiomatic. So I looked up the Russian, and we've got он ни на шаг не подвинулся ни на каком поприще и все еще стоял у порога своей арены, там же, где был 10 лет назад. So, just wanted to point out a wee translation point there. I mean, I could do that all day long because I'm so interested in the translation side of things, but I won't bore you with that. And then we get a discussion of Oblomov's kind of downward spiral, where he sends a letter to the wrong city. He's expecting to be reprimanded, and we're told that his boss is actually decent, so the reprimand isn't going to be too severe, but he panics, sends in a letter to say that he's ill, his heart is enlarged or something like that, so he's got a sick note, and then he just never comes back. He ends up resigning and doesn't go back to work, and then he stays home. He immures himself within his four walls. That's a great word, immure. And yeah, his health declines, puts on weight, he eats too much, and he goes out less. He doesn't want to socialise, and so he doesn't. And Stoltz manages to get him out now and again, but Stoltz is away a lot in business, so he just spirals down, and he becomes the Oblomov that we know from the novel, and that's who he is as we go forward. So, well, we get a wee bit of chat about his girlfriends, past girlfriends. You know, he is interested in women, he wants a relationship, just never seems to get one to stick. And so that's been missing from his life as well. And we know that he's now just approaching 30. And that's where he is, at home without a wife and without any desire to go anywhere. He just wants to stay home with his monkey and his dog, which is the Radio Chaos line, which means he wants to stay home with Zachar and go nowhere and do nothing. Poor guy.